everyone, and welcome. It's the Quantum Healing with Candace show. It is the 3rd of November, 2018. And I want to start by thanking our sponsor, in5d.com, and Greg Prescott, who is such a beautiful soul down in Florida and supports us and this show. So thank you so much, Greg Prescott. We love you all over the earth. There are people who love you. Today is a really wonderful show that's been in the works for quite some time. I'm welcoming my good friend and colleague, BQH practitioner Hara Katsiki, and we are going to talk today about tandem BQH sessions. And what the heck is a tandem BQH session? Well, we'll get into that for a second. In a second, but I would like first, of course, just to say hello to Hara. Hi, Hara. It's been a while.
Hi, Candace. So happy to be with you. Thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. Hara is in Berlin, Germany, and I know that room that she's in right now recording because that was the little place, that little beautiful bed back behind her is where I stayed and had an amazing visit earlier this year in 2018. And it's actually the place where Hara's and Jeremie, her husband's apartment, is where we did a tandem BQH session. And that's what we are going to talk about today. So Hara, why don't you set it up? What is a tandem BQH session?
So first of all, it was my first experience, my first tandem session. I didn't know what it was before you said the magic word tandem, and I really had to go ahead and ask you, what is a tandem session? And so yeah, a tandem session is when a facilitator is doing a session on at the same time with two people, let's say clients, and it was just, for me, it was just amazing because I had no expectations, as I had a concept I had never heard before, and I had no idea how it would work out and if it would work out, and having no expectations ended up having like a great experience, really like unexpected, beautiful and magic in every possible way.
So what's really special about this show today, and we're doing this as a pre-recorded show today, and I'm coming to you, if you haven't already noticed, from my barn here in Kansas, but we're doing a pre-recorded show today because we've transcribed this session and we are going to play audio clips. We're going to talk about the session, and we're going to play certain audio clips, about 9 of them actually. And as we go through these clips, we're going to talk to Hara about what it felt like, what she was thinking, what she was seeing, and of course her husband Jeremie as well. So it's going to be kind of a little different show today than many of you might be used to who've been watching this show for a while. I'm very excited about it though. And again, it's been in the works for a while. We've talked about it. This has happened several months ago, this session. So, Hara, the first thing I want to ask you is a little bit about your beautiful, amazing husband, Jeremie. So I remember when we were talking about possibly doing this, and he's a musician, he's an artist, he doesn't do the work that we do. And what was his reaction when we brought this up? Do you remember what he said, and do you remember what you said?
Not much, but I think he was open to the idea. He didn't either know what to expect, but I think he trusted us. I mean, he trusts me for sure, and he trusted you as well from the beginning, from the first moment that you guys met. So. Yeah, he was such an open, in such a place of being so open that he was just like, yeah, girls, come on, let's just do it.
So remind us, if you will, had he done any kind of session like this before, any kind of regression work?
I tried 2-3 times in the past, from the beginning when I started doing quantum healing sessions, but we know how difficult it can be facilitating these sessions for people who are so close to you in a way. So it was a bit, it was difficult for him to see things, to open up, to go into this place, to open up and really like, see something. So that was the first time that I saw him, and I was really glad to see that he really dived into himself. He really dived deep into himself, and I think it was our combined energies. Your amazing skill and intuition and combined with mine, and it really helped him. And I was so happy to see him like really like just finally being in that place, being able to tap into this deeper part of him.
You know, that's how I remember it too. I remember you saying, you know, I don't know how this is going to go because we kind of tried this before and it wasn't really smooth or whatever. And it just went as smooth as silk, didn't it? So we'll put up I remember we have a still shot that I took just with my iPhone at the time, and we'll put up a shot right now as I'm talking in the editing process. We'll show you what the setup was. So what we did was we just, we got the computer, we got that ended up not working. The video part on the computer didn't work. And so we kind of threw that out, but you had that amazing recorder going and we got that wonderful audio. So we got the audio going, and then Hara and Jeremie just were in there. Hara has the most gorgeous master bedroom, and that's just where we went because it was the nice big bed. And your 2 spots on the bed, and then I had a chair outside the bed, and we just did a BQH session. And so set us up, Hara. What's the first clip that we're going to listen to?
So the first clip is the first scene, that how we landed on the let's say the first experience that we had, and I want to say here something. The only thing, when you proposed to have this tandem session, I immediately, the first concern that came into my mind was, because I've tried already with him and it just didn't work somehow. And I am very talkative, and I'm very visual, and I have a lot of intuition and wild imagination. And I was like, oh no, I don't want this to be like a monologue where I am like blah, 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 and he's just silent. So I was like kind of wondering how this will work out in a way, and it worked out in such a amazing, beautiful way, because when we arrived in the most appropriate time and place and we had to look around, I couldn't see anything. It was just black. It was just, I couldn't see. And like I said, I usually see I'm like super visual, and I couldn't see anything. I mean, I didn't worry, of course. I was in such a place of trust. And guess what? He was the one who actually saw the first thing, and he was the one who kicked it off in a way. So I'm going to share here the first scene, which is what Jeremie is seeing.
And now, as you feel yourself here in this time, this place, I want you to tell me the first things that you see, or the very first impressions that you have, as you begin to understand where you are and what is happening around you.
I see water and dolphins, but not on Earth.
Water and dolphins?
Yes. I'd be serious. Because the light is different.
Where's your perspective? Are you within the water, or tell me more?
half, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the back of the dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a water being too. I feel I have a thing.
You're a water bee. It's amazing. Really feel yourself in this place and tell me more about yourself as a water bee. Describe yourself more fully.
It's much more. You move way easier. Your spine is alive. Your body is more flexible. It's more round.
Are the dolphins aware of your presence?
I guess so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we live all together.
I wonder if your partner is there too.
Yeah. Can I see her smiling?
Is she exhibiting, presenting much as yourself or something different? Can she speak?
I think I can see him. He's not a dolphin, but he has a tail, and the half of his body from waist up is more humanoid. The skin is, I don't know, it looks like fish, also a bit shimmery.
Mm-hmm.
The skin is shining. He has webs on his hands, on his between the fingers. There are webs. And no hair on the head. Big eye, blue, very big.
Mm-hmm.
Very big eyes. Nose, I don't know if there's nose or there's not. Yeah, kind of. And the mouth is smaller. Yeah, the characteristics are mixed between a human and an aquatic being.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ears are interesting. They remind me of elves. The ears, because they have points at the top. And he's moving fast. He's can swim very, very fast.
So
That's it.
wow, that's amazing. That's just so incredible because, yeah, I mean, if you really think about this, Hara's been doing this work forever, for the really long time. She's had lots of sessions. She's facilitated lots of sessions, received lots of sessions, and Jeremie not so much. And when they do this tandem session, suddenly he's the one who's talking and seeing everything. And she's just, you know, as soon as he starts talking, then poof, then it all kind of shows up right in front of her. And that's exactly how it happened when I had my first tandem session with my husband, believe it or not. He was the one who was first talking. I too there was nothing. There was just gray. And then when he started talking, it just showed up in my sight. And then I matched exactly where he was. And that's the way it worked. All right, great. Well, so set up the next clip. What happens next?
So what happens next is the thing is that he can see me, and but I cannot see myself, and the other way around. So I can see him, but he cannot see himself. So as I just described him, then he goes ahead because I couldn't see myself somehow, and he describes how I look like. So here we go.
Are there others like the two of you there, or is it just you two and the dolphin? Can you tell me a little bit more about the surroundings?
I don't know how I look like.
Your partner sees you.
I see you as a dolphin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just wasn't sure, I think.
So we have an aquatic being swimming with the dolphin.
Yeah, that's it. And something I wanted to say for the previous clip, I don't know if you noticed when you asked him if he is above the water or under the water, he said I'm half. And then, because I could see him, I saw that he was half aquatic and half humanoid. So, and he's like a merman, let's say. So he had the ability to go above the water and under the water. That's why he could see both, because he could go in both, up and down.
That's amazing. And so then, you know, what I liked about that next part when he said, oh, well, you're a dolphin. I remember your body kind of relaxing, like, and then like feeling into it, you know, like then it suddenly it was confirmation maybe of feelings or something, but it became, you know, more real. It was really, really interesting. So there we were. We had the half humanoid, half aquatic being, and then swimming with the dolphins. And so we were setting the scene, and I guess there was others around. And yeah, and then what happens?
Then it starts to get more interesting as you are asking us, okay, so how do you interact with each other? What's the meeting about? What is happening?
Yeah, I'm actually following along here with the transcript so that I can pay attention to where we are. So this next part, I think you talk about where you meet and what's going on with you, dimensionally speaking. So why don't you play that clip for everyone?
Yep.
What is the communication?
Talking about meeting on Earth and helping each other.
So are you both aware of other worlds and other realms and planning other kinds of existences? Are you both aware of this, or is one of you more in understanding of the process? Whose idea is it?
Mine. Yeah,
and I'm like, oh yeah, I know this place. Yeah, I've been there not so many times, and I have a bit of resistance, I think. I'm happy there, and I'm free, and yeah, it's an incredible way of being and living in this dimension there, enjoying and everything at this moment. But I start to consider this idea of focusing on Earth.
What would be the purpose to have an incarnation together on Earth? Why would these free water beings even think about it?
Or just to experience that both is possible at the same time.
At the same time.
Well, we can be floating up there and at the same time helping here.
So yeah, we can be floating there and at the same time helping here. So we are introducing already the concept of being multidimensional in a way.
When we were setting this up today to do this show, you were talking a little bit about how that even felt. So you're laying in the bed and you're experiencing the life and the energy stream of a dolphin in this other existence. And you're then talking about both realms at the same time. So you actually, even in the session laying there, you were feeling multidimensional.
Absolutely, yes. It made me emotional because I really could feel that I am the dolphin. I felt my body just like floating in that space, being there. I almost felt the water. The bed was like a water bed.
amazing. That's just amazing. Yeah, and the next clip talks a little bit about that, right? About both those realms and what that was like. So why don't you play that one for us?
Mm-hmm.
Just share whatever seems to be important right now as you feel yourself in both realms, making a great, strong connection between them both and between each other. It's my home. I go there at night. It's a beautiful place. I feel like I'm a dolphin again now.
That's funny though, because looking at us from up there, it looks like this is your office, you know, it's the place to go for your job. But actually, you know what, out there, in the toilet, I need to help, you know, we need to, and it's easy, and in humanity, we should love each other, you know, that's the most simple message, and I think it's the strongest to achieve. Plus, stop putting everybody in a box, you know, stop splitting and just unite, you know.
That was a really beautiful clip. It was all about kind of, you know, labels and limitations and putting it, you know, restrictions, constrictions, all that stuff. When you are experiencing two worlds at once, suddenly these kinds of restrictions and labels, they just seem really silly, don't they?
Yeah, they just fall off instantaneously.
Yeah.
And what I liked a lot was that Jeremie describes that place as the spa, and here is the office.
I love it.
Do the work, right? And yeah.
I love it. So, you know, let's pause for a minute going through these session clips to ask you. That makes me wonder. So does he go to the spa? Do you guys talk about going to the spa sometimes if you're going off to bed at night or in meditation or anything like that? Does he refer back to this session at all?
No, actually, we have never talked about it, but I'm sure we both do.
Wow, that's interesting. Sometimes, you know, when I lay down to go to sleep at night and I think about some of the sessions that I have had in my life, sometimes that just kind of pre-primes like my dream state, and I end up going back there and visiting. So if Jeremie was right here, I would ask him if he'd had any subsequent dreams of being the half aquatic being or going back to that place. How about you? Have you had any dreams of water worlds or swimming like a dolphin?
Okay, you know what? I mean, since I remember myself, I would say 90% of my dreams are underwater. Even if I see a room with furniture, it's filled with water.
You know, I think that's actually, I have to say, I know we're kind of giggling about that, but as I, and as many of us, continue to raise our vibration, continue to expand our consciousness level, more and more and more and more water ends up in my dreams. And of course, you know, I've had Dolores Cannon tell me in my own speaking with her that water is liquid consciousness. And so that makes a great deal of sense to me, Hara.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting also what I saw in this session, because I was told a few years ago when I had my spiritual awakening and I went to my first workshop to do some inner work, and there were several people there who were psychics and who could see other dimensions and things like this, and there were 3 or 4 of them, separate individuals, who said to me that I was shape-shifting into a dolphin, and it shocked me. yeah, and I didn't know what to do with this information because there was something very new to me, even though it rang the bell, because like I said, since a child, I'm having dreams underwater. And so when they said that to me, it didn't sound very strange, but they could really see the dolphin already. And that's how somehow my awakening started, of remembering that I have this big portion of me who lives, who is there on this planet, and is it has this aquatic form.
Wow, isn't that amazing? And you really feel a connection with that, you know, because like I know that I have an aspect. Well, I know I've got some Lyran aspects. But there's an Orion aspect that I tend to think about a lot, and that is a really big guy who it's a guy, and he's a really big guy, and he's, even though he's got a group that he lives with, works with, etc., he also spends a lot of time alone outside. And I know when I spend a lot of time alone outside, I'm really connecting with that aspect of myself who's living that life in that world. So that's pretty brilliant. So in this tandem session, you know, we experience these both of their lives simultaneously. And then what happens is in this BQH session, I asked to speak to the higher self of both of the people who are having this session. And that's the clip that's coming up next. And this next clip is a fairly long one. It's one of the longest ones that we're playing so far. But what I love, of course, is it's exactly 3 minutes and 33 seconds long. And we're going to listen to Hara's higher self, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This has been an amazing exploration today. Can you fill in some details for us? Can you tell us a little bit about what has happened here today? Can you tell us a little bit about how the experience was created, how and why it was possible for Hara and Jeremie to see this water life, and then help us to understand the question that they bring today about their purpose and path? From a human perspective, that was a long, long time ago. Of course, you're aware that time doesn't exist, but in your linear way of perceiving time, that was again a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And Jeremie was a visitor. I was more like a resident of this planet. And Jeremie's experience there was more like an in-between lives exploration. He's involved with Earth since for a long time. He's coming here thousands of years. So he knows this place very well. And he knew what's going on Earth, and he knew about the downfall of consciousness and all these things. And as he was there, I was, let's say, vacation. Yeah, he encountered Hara part of her that was living that life there. And in a way, he saw the wisdom, the love, the beauty, the lightness, the playfulness, and yeah, he wanted to bring that to Earth.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. That was pretty amazing. I can only imagine what that must have been like for both of you, being a married couple. I mean, I've got chills in my body right now just thinking about it. And you guys just are, you know, you just so belong together. I mean, you know, you really, really have a magical relationship. And if I didn't ever thank you enough before, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of exploring the creation of that incredible love, because I remember sitting there, and I mean, you're, like I said, your bedroom's just so gorgeous anyway. You know, you transformed it in this beautiful, flowy, calm, magical place anyway. I mean, it's just like a stage set anyway. And for me to sit there and hear some of this, it was truly amazing. I love that. He was just a visitor, you know. He was just hanging out, visiting, and you lived there, and the energies connected up there, and I love it so much.
Yeah, he said, like, I don't know if I mentioned it in this recording or in this in the segment that we heard, that that was like in between lives. So this in between lives is this vacation time where souls can just rest and go to the spa.
Yeah. And you know, I'm sure you and I have too, have had clients in BQH sessions that, you know, you don't always have to incarnate into a physical or even an energetic body and do kind of an entire life cycle. You can just, it's almost kind of like, I was thinking of this the other day. It's like the Star Trek, kind of like the holodeck, right? You go to the place and you're like, well, it's like going to the movies for a little bit, or going to have a little adventure for kind of a short period of time. And it's astonishing what, you know, kind of adventures are available to us when we think of ourselves as pure consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, set up the next clip for us, would you? Clip number 6. Let's say hello to Jeremie's higher self. Hello. Thank you so much. And what would you like to tell Jeremie about the scenes of the aquatic being life that you provided for him to see?
We're showing that we always felt connected to the water. So we wanted to show in this life in the water, making Hara understand why he loves Hara and he loves water.
Beautiful. Will the conscious mind of Jeremie be surprised by any of this?
It makes total sense. But he was not able to think about it.
And I would like to ask both the higher selves about this current incarnation. There's movement and change in their lives, possible different focus in work and living arrangements. What would you like to say about their path and purpose moving forward in their lives together? What advice do you have?
It's really enjoy and have fun and be an example of two beings coming together as one and creating from the heart and meeting in a place where there is no polarity. unity, and on that space there is creation of everything you can imagine.
And guess what? Jeremie in this life, he's Aquarius.
Of course he is. And you guys are always making trips to the ocean as well, which of course makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes, we love to spend a lot of time by the water. So we go to Greece for almost 3 months every summer. Yeah.
That's amazing. I just love it so much. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. So we're coming down to our last 3 clips, and this next one, I think, is the one you're talking about your mission here on Earth together. Is that right? Is there
Yes.
anything you want to say about that before you play it?
Yeah, I call it the sacred union. That was the main let's say theme of our mission here, is to bring that sacred union. And I really, really, really enjoyed the way that it was being presented through the higher self. It makes, knowing myself and knowing him makes so much sense. It's just like 1.5 minutes of audio, which brings everything together in a amazing way.
Wonderful. Play that for us, would you? Okay.
Enjoy this experience that you are having. It's a very special one. It's very beautiful, and it can inspire so many people around them.
Yeah, as you asked before if they had many lives together, we say no, but there's an alchemy between them, there's a click. And he's representing a male, she's representing a female, he's representing the earth, she's representing the stars. If you connect all this, we point to the heart, and that's the job they're supposed to do, is to show people how to connect to the heart and how to live to the heart. From the heart.
And they breathe as one. That's amazing. Yeah, it's a sacred union. And that's one of the common paths to show that to the world. Remind them how two externally physical polarized beings can unite in peace and love and merge into oneness. Thank you.
Wow, how special is that? I'm all choked up over here. It's so beautiful, Hara. Just so incredibly wonderful. Wow. You know, there's a lot of different ways people can do tandem sessions. They tend to be partners like this, though, life partners. And so far, that is the only experience I have had in doing tandem sessions, are actually 2 people who are married. I wonder about doing some other kinds, but so far, this is really beautiful. To think about the whole, you know, sharing your life together. And when you said they breathe as one, you know, I thought about the other tandem sessions that I've done, you know, the life partner kind of connection. And that makes a lot of sense why this works so easily. Although I'd still like to try it with some others, you know, yeah. Mother, daughter, or sisters, or just friends, or I don't even know, you know, people talk a lot about twin flames and things like that. You know, they don't have to actually be life partners to embody that concept, which quite frankly can also be limiting from a lot of definition perspective. But that was just beautiful, and possibly one of my favorite clips. Of all of these, except for, yes, Dolores is coming up, so that one's a real favorite too. We actually talk about tandem sessions in the next clip, don't we? Is there anything you'd like to say before we play that one?
That interesting. I was checking the definition of tandem. What does it? And the first thing that comes on Google is a bicycle with two people riding a bicycle with two pedals. And it's I mean, it's literal and very technical, but at the same time it's such a nice metaphor for what we experienced.
Right.
Because like kind of like this path that we have, this mission that we are sharing, and the oneness that is the mechanism that is propelling us into what we are doing. I thought it's like the bicycle, and we are just riding it and going
on the same path together. Lovely. All right, why don't you play that clip for us?
Yeah, the next one is the view of our higher selves on the tandem sessions.
Is there anything either higher self would like to mention about this fairly unique way of exploration we call tandem, where two come together and explore consciousness in this way? Would you like to comment upon this for either those present or for others who might be watching a recording of this later? What's interesting or important to know about this kind of tandem consciousness exploration?
We see it as an excellent tool for beings who want to explore their dynamic, their relationship. They have to be very open.
Yes.
To give and receive, to trust. And the beauty in this technique is that, as we perceive it now, is that it can enhance them. It can enhance the trust between the two who are part of it, and the communication.
It's so beautiful. You know, I'm reading ahead, looking at this transcript. That's why I'm looking down a lot while we're doing this. And even though it's not on the clip, that, you know, the next thing is, it's reminding me of what actually happened, which was, the whole room turned pink for me at that point. And I really saw an energetic melding of their energy fields. It was astonishing. I mean, it really, you know, these sessions, these BQH sessions that we do are just as powerful for the facilitator often as they are for the client, or in this case, clients. And I forgot kind of, I mean, we do that, don't we? We have such amazing things, and then they just kind of, they leave our, our conscious mind, but it's nice to recall seeing that room just glow that beautiful pink. We want to let all the BQH practitioners out there know how easy it is to do this. You know, you simply follow the basic outline of the scripts with two people laying down next to each other, and you don't have to do anything. You know, I haven't done this that many times because it's kind of, let's face it, it's kind of rare to have two people who are willing to do this in this way. But every time I've ever done it, it's just been very, very easy. It just suddenly, it seems like so far since we've talked about it, one person starts talking, the other person jumps in, and they just go. And you don't have to, I mean, they're both laying there with their eyes closed. The facilitator can ask each of them questions. But even in my own session, when I did it with my own husband, we just were finishing each other's sentences about what we were seeing. And I have another very strong memory of a very close couple who did the same thing. They were just like, did you see that? Oh yeah, it was, you know, fill in the blank. And they both got their eyes closed. It's just kind of astonishing. It's very magical. And I encourage practitioners out there to try, or clients, if you are close and aligned with a life partner who might also be interested, give it a try too. Contact a BQH practitioner to do this. But we want to end today with a question and or two that we posed to Dolores Cannon, because as I am remembering the beautiful trip that I had to Europe this past year, Hara and I had many adventures together, and Dolores would come into one or both of our minds quite often, and we were talking to her a little bit about that. We asked about connections, and we also asked what she thought about doing this kind of exploration. And this is kind of a longer message too, I think, from Dolores. Would you like to play that one for us, Hara?
Sure.
Dolores, Hara and I feel you with us so much in our daily lives. I ask again if there's any message now, maybe to the public, that you might want to give. Just an opportunity to speak. We may share this on social media or YouTube, etc. What would you like to tell the people who still love you so much, people on earth who yearn to connect to your energy? What might you say to those people?
I would like to say that you are the ones who are creating the new earth. And it's a great joy and pleasure for me to see that from this perspective. I'm able to see much more than I could before, and also assist you in different ways. And from what I see, we are in a very good way. The ball is rolling. It's unstoppable. Don't look back. Keep looking forward. We are the forerunners. We are the ones. You are the ones who are creating the US. It's beautiful. It's even more beautiful than what I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So many people love you so much, and I've asked this question before, but I would like to take the opportunity to ask it again. I tell people that you are very easy to communicate with. Anyone who feels a connection with you and your energy, even though, of course, you have passed, that you can still connect with them. What would you like to say about that to those people who may not want to hear me say it, but would like to hear you say how possible it is to connect to you in the spirit realm?
I'm available for everybody. There are different portions of me who connect with different people in different ways concerning on the need of the communication, the depth of the level of the request or the connection. I will go back to what I used to say. If you believe that it's possible, then it is possible. From my side, I am here. I'm available to anybody who would like to connect with me now.
Thank you so much. It's such a wonderful, beautiful, amazing way to end that, to end your session. You know, we didn't add this clip either, but I'm reading what we didn't add. Do you remember we asked her if she had any advice or any message she might want to give to the practitioners that we were headed towards Greece to meet up with everybody in Delphi later. And do you remember, she was very enigmatic. She said, "Oh, they'd be surprised." That's all she said. They're going to be surprised. And yeah, that's another show for another day, but wow, weren't they surprised?
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but if you remember, how did the story unfolded within the surprise. There was another kind of a tandem session.
Yeah.
Because
with two practitioners, and yeah, oh, absolutely. There's just, there's just no limits to this work, and we have so much fun. The higher self used to tell Dolores all the time, the only limits you have are the ones you put upon yourselves. And so, we're really trying to lift those limits, especially with BQH, and we're just having so much fun with that. And I really love the way she answered that question about different portions of herself coming through depending on the need, the desire, the connection, right? So some people, you can have a really, really strong connection, or you can have a connection like, somebody across a field. You might be able to hear them a little bit, but maybe you don't have as strong a connection as if they are right here. But even continuing a communication, of course, can bring them closer. So I'm forever talking to potential clients or potential BQH practitioners about, their fondness for Dolores. And I'm always encouraging them to just sit quietly. And if they can imagine her voice talking to them, pretty soon she just picks it up and starts talking to you, and will come in the strangest place. And this, it happened to me too. And there were times I'm like, am I just making that up, or is it really you? And so here's the way I answered that question for myself. There would be times when I would be, driving, or I'd be in the grocery store getting ready to something, and all of a sudden I would hear a voice in my head, like kind of saying something, and almost always, it's funny, okay? And it's deadpan, and it's funny, and it's Dolores, okay? And I don't care what anyone says out there. She's got a very specific energy, and it's very matter of fact, and it's always funny, but it always has huge heart at the same time. But she doesn't mess around. She's not all fluffy. And she's very funny. And here's when it really sealed the deal for me. When she would say things to me, and I'd have to go kind of look up the reference. I didn't know what it meant, right? And I had to go search the answer. And then when I would search the answer, it would make sense to me. And that's when I finally was able to publicly say, yeah, I hear her. I absolutely hear her, and I absolutely have a strong connection with her. And my connection comes and goes, by the way, depending on what it is that's going on in my life. There's stretches of time I don't feel like I'm hearing her much at all, and there's other times when I'm like, she's in my head all day. Yeah, I encourage all of you out there to try to make a connection with this very special being, because Hara, don't you think she's it's like she's really interested in what's happening on the planet. She hasn't zoomed out very far away from us at all. She's relatively close.
She's very close. She's here. She's here and she's there, and that's what she was saying. That's why she decided to go, so she can work in both levels at the same time. So in a way, it was brilliant what she did, because once she departed and a big portion of her went back, now she's able to connect to many people at the same time, and she's with all the practitioners if they want to connect with her. I can say that from my personal experience, I have no doubt about it. I know she's here, she's in the room, I can feel her. Sometimes even she's guiding me through when I do the session, she's talking to me, she's telling me what to ask and what direction to go. And sometimes even I hear her voice saying, ask this, or go there, and I ask things, and it's like, oh, I start to speak a little bit like Dolores. Especially when I listen to the session again, the recording of the session, I'm like, oh, that sounded like Dolores. And I think so she has a lot of influence, and some of them are not aware of it, and it doesn't matter, but she's still there. Now I want to say something really, because you said that she's funny, and she's absolutely funny, because she comes to me often when I'm in the restroom and when I'm in the shower.
Yes, she is funny. You know, some of the best talks I've ever had with Dolores were, well, maybe not in the shower, but certainly in the restroom, you know, in classes and stuff, coming to and from breaks and things like that. You know, I want to talk about her passing for a moment too, as long as you brought that up about her. You know, it was brilliant. There's something that she used to say, and I've got kind of goosebumps right now, and I think, you know, I'm feeling as if she's encouraging me to say this. So if any of you had been in and around, you know, Dolores while she was alive, or had taken a live class with her, or even maybe heard her talk in lectures and things, interviews, she would say that they, meaning the SC or the collective higher self, would tell her she was going to live to be 100 to do this work. And she didn't have any doubt about that. Now, she did not, you know, she didn't even make it to 85. I guess she was 83 or 84. I'm not remembering the exact, if it was 83 or 84 at the time. But she wanted to, yeah, when you said that her exit was brilliant, you know, my sense of her coming in and saying it was really good that she didn't know, right? She really did expect to be working another 20 years, and she is, right? She's still working. So see, that part isn't from the perspective of where she is right now. That wasn't a misstatement. You know, her physical body didn't live to be 100, but maybe she's going to be available, you know, for us for the next 20 years in the way that she's available to us now, which is a very strong connection and a very helpful connection in many of our sessions. So, so do know that, even if you are new to this method as a practitioner, or if you're a client going to somebody who is new to quantum healing, Dolores can be there for one or both of you. Just need to ask.
I have clients who come to me who are sent by Dolores. Now.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah. And don't they always start the same way? They get on the phone with you and they say, "You're not going to believe this." And then you laugh because you think, "Yeah, I'll believe it, because I know it, because she does that. She comes in dreams, or she comes in visions, or she comes in some sort of way, and she tells people to go have a session."
Yeah, she's really orchestrating the whole thing, like the client with who is the perfect match for the practitioner, and she's going into altered, when they are in altered state of consciousness, dreaming, whatever, and she says to them, "You contact this practitioner," or whatever. It's just unbelievable. And yes, they say, "You won't believe it," but I was sent by Dolores. I'm like, I believe it.
Yeah, I always say the same thing. I believe it too. Hara, I think that's all the time we have today. Do you have any final words about this this tandem session? I don't want to cut you off prematurely. Anything to say to kind of wrap it up today?
Yeah, well, what I want to say is that it was an amazing experience for me. I mean, first of all, I had the chance to have a session with you, and I have to say to everybody who's watching that she is a brilliant practitioner. Absolutely amazing how you handle the whole thing. I mean, you need to have skills to do that in such a beautiful way. And the whole experience was beautiful. It really deepened our connection, me and my partner. Can you imagine that now we are, first of all, I mean, we had trust already, but now it's just exploded in a way where it's just, there's no doubt about anything. And we have even advanced our telepathic skills. So for fun, what we do is I think of something and I send it to him, and I said to him, "Tell me, what do I think now?" Or "Tell me, what do I see?" So we are, you know, testing if this really works, and it does. And it's amazing. It's incredible. So we are remembering our, you know, our deep connection that we had in what we saw also in the session and everything, and we are like bringing it back into this dimension. And you mentioned it already before, how we were it was like how to say it, I would say something and he would add on it, and it would be just a beautiful flow of completing each other in a way that, I mean, you cannot even do this with your conscious mind. You know, somehow you will bump into each other in somewhere, somehow you will interrupt, something like this. But it was just so brilliant how we were like really like I said, breathing as one. That was the main thing of the experience. It was really like bringing us together, and this I feel we have kept it since then.
I did my tandem session with my husband in 2011, late 2011, and it was fabulous and fascinating. And what was really fascinating was after it was all over, things that we didn't even say in the session. We had a very human life to explore in our tandem session. And I remember like saying, well, you know, when I was hiding behind that wall in the house, what did that house look like for you? It just was a detail we didn't bring up. And, you know, even when the session was over, we had memories of it. The details matched. Everything matched. You know, we were like trying to not pick it apart, but we certainly were asking more questions, and we were satisfied with all the answers. A brilliant thing to do with a life partner. Should you find that you have that opportunity, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Hara, how can people find you?
They can find me on my website, which is QHwC.cloud, and on my YouTube channel under my name, Hara Katsiki. Yeah. You
can also find Hara at quantumhealers.com, which is our directory website. And I want to also mention, for those of you who are interested in learning how to do BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing, we've got a couple of discount codes for you. Hara's discount code is
Hara 10.
Do you remember? Yeah, so it's Hara, it's her name, Hara 10. And of course, as always, we have in5D 10. Either one of those codes put in the cart over there at the website to purchase the class will get you 10% off the course. And all of the letters must be capitalized, Hara 10 or in5D 10, all capital letters. So join us, would you, practitioners? We have so much fun talking about this stuff. We never stop talking about it. It's exciting. It's an adventure. It's different every day. We're always learning something, and we're always expanding. And there are no limits with BQH. Hara, thank you so much for coming. And come to America next year. Come here. Come to my barn. I got a nice brown pony you can ride, and we'll take it out on the prairie. Okay?
You're kidding. I would love to. Yes.
Yeah, yes. Come see me. All right. Thanks again to Greg Prescott at in5D.com for sponsoring the Quantum Healing with Candace show. Thanks to all the quantum healers out there. Thanks to Dolores. Thanks to everybody who watches and supports us. All right. That's it for today. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.